This video is to go through some of the exercises we're going to do in class. So you can, if you're having problems, you can use this video as a reference when things go wrong. So the two exercises we're going to go through in this video is to create a rectangle using 4 separate lines, and then we're going to use the equal constraint to convert the rectangle to a square. There's lots of ways to do this. I'm going to go through one of them, and we're going to cover some of the best practices that we went through in class. So we're going to create a new standard part. So create that, and that brings up a part. We're just going to quickly check under Tools, Document Settings, Units, that we're in inches. We're going to close that. We're going to go back to 3D Model. We're going to start a sketch. Once we click on that, it brings up the 3 planes. I'm going to use the XY plane. And this is part of the best practices John had talked about. We're going to bring in the origin, and if you bring your cursor into the model pane, you can see that we have these axes and planes, and every part has these. So since we selected the XY plane, that's our face plane, and then the YZ and the XZ are actually axes. They're, in a sense, the X and the Y axis, and then the Z axis is coming into you, which is in effect the center point. So we're going to project geometry, and we're going to use the YZ and the XZ and create construction geometry from that. I'll right click and hit OK to accept that. You can see this construction geometry here. I'm going to select both of these I'll click on one, hold down the Control key, and click the next line. They're both blue, they're both selected. Now I can right click on my mouse to get the quick menu, and we're going to make those construction geometry. And you can see now that both of these are dotted lines indicating their construction geometry. Now we're going to create just a line, 4 lines. And I'm not sure if this is options. In class, when we do it, it just creates 1 line. And then, you can create another separate line. Mine seems to create these, continue on with a kind of a chain type reaction. I don't know if that's an option. I'm going to hit OK, and I'm going to delete these. We're going to do 4 separate lines. So another one here, right click, hit OK, another one, right click, hit OK, 4th one, right click, hit OK. Now we have our 4 separate lines, and we're going to first do a quick review about selecting, right? if I hover over this, I can highlight the whole line. If I hover over the edge, I select the point of the line. And you can see when I hover for a few seconds, it brings up a little menu. And it does that when there are multiple selections available. So under this one, you can see I have the point of the sketch, basically the end point, and I have the curve. So I could select either one. Right, let's say I select that. Now the point is highlighted in blue. You can also see here, unhide that. And if I go around the middle, where are we? Well, if I go here, that's the end point. And somewhere around the middle, I should be picking up the midpoint. Why can't I select the midpoint? Well, let's join these endpoints and then maybe midpoint will come in. So we're going to go into coincident constraint. And let's see if I can select it now. Yeah, there it goes. So you could select the midpoint. I'm not sure why I couldn't do it in the beginning, but we don't want the midpoint. We want the endpoint, we want this endpoint, and it brings those two together. Also, you want to watch down here if you're unsure of what you're supposed to select. So at the bottom left, you can see it says select first curve or point. So again, point, point. Okay. Now, point, point. And I'll zoom out a little. Point, point. And hit OK. Let's grab that. And I seem to have screwed something up, so let's undo. Undo is Control Z. Undo again. Now here I can grab this point and bring it over, and I can redo. So I'm going to go back to coincidence constraint. I'm going to select that point, make sure I got it, select that point. Now I have something more resembling a four-sided object. Hit OK. I can now, I could use a couple of things. I could make these parallel here, parallel constraints, so I could make opposite ends of the rectangle parallel to each other. I could make two sides vertical, or I could make one side parallel and one side vertical. Let's do that. So let's take this line and select the first line, select the second line, and they're parallel. I could go here and make this line vertical. Okay, so there we go. I can do the same on the top. Make this line and this line parallel. Then I can make and select this line and make it horizontal. Okay. But now this box or rectangle now isn't fully constrained. It says it needs 4 dimensions left to be fully constrained. Here I'm going to use the midpoint I think in class John used, where he made dimensions, he used equations to make dimensions half of the total dimension. But I'm going to take the midpoint and I'm going to constrain it to this line. And then I'm going to take the midpoint here and I'm going to constrain it to that line. Now I have 2 dimensions needed. So I'm going to go to the dimension tool. I can select this line and there's a dimension. Okay. I can also select instead of selecting this line is kind of the quick one, but sometimes it's hard to select a certain line. And what you can do is select each of the lines that attach to it, and then there you get that, in a sense, that line, right? You could also select 2 points on that line. So now we have a fully constrained rectangle. And then the second part was to make this a square. So we can use the, not the parallel, but the equal. So we can go here, we can select this line, and we can select this line. Oh, it didn't like that. Adding this will over constrain. Cancel. Huh. Okay. Oh, because we've, yeah, we set that dimension. Okay. Let's hit OK. Let's get rid of this dimension. And now we'll use equal. We'll select that line. We'll select that line. And it's a square. And we'll hit OK. We'll hit finish. Now if we select the sketch, we can extrude it, right? One thing we didn't do is we could revolve it, and we could revolve this profile, and we could select an axis, and let's see if we can select that axis. Can we select the y-axis? There we go. I guess I must not have had it. So we can revolve that around itself to make a little cylinder, right? We can cancel that. Or we could, well, we can sweep it. We would need a line. So let's just extrude it. Hit OK. And we've got our first part. So that's the end of this video about that first practice. Thank you.